Hi, I'm Peter Lazaroff, and I'm here with Daniel Lee. We're here to talk about RSUs because we're kind of getting up to that point in time where people are finding out about their grants. And Daniel, let's just start by covering the basics of the RSUs. You're granted these RSU shares. People have different vesting schedules, but obviously the value of what you get at the time of the grant versus when they're fully vested are different.
That's right. I would think of vesting, it has a special word, but RSUs can be thought of as kind of like getting a bonus. And so, like a bonus, if you stay to the end of the year, whatever that target bonus might have been, you get it. If you leave before then, you don't get it. So that's kind of how vesting works. The typical vesting period is that it's for over 4 years. There's a cliff vesting, meaning you get 1/4 after that first year, and then you get an equal amount every month after that. Like you said, the amount that you get granted is some amount, but the value that you actually get is when those shares vest. So it could be higher, it could be lower, or it could be the same.
Well, and what's really critical are the taxes. And I think they can be confusing at first. It always helps to walk through an example of one, but how should people be thinking about the taxes of these RSU grants?
So again, I think I kind of go back to that bonus example. The amount that you vest, so the value of the shares that you get when they vest is considered income, same as a bonus. And so you'll owe income tax on that. The common misconception is that if you hold those vested shares for a year, there'll be some tax benefit. That's a misconception that I can't seem to shake. And so there is tax benefit if you sell the shares right away. Now, some employees do have this blackout period, and if there's a big movement in that stock price during the month or two when you're blacked out, you can't sell the shares. Now it gets a little bit more complicated, but assuming that's not the case, there's no benefit to holding it.
We work with a lot of people who are having these RSUs, and that definitely seems to be one of the misconceptions why they think they should hold it for a longer period of time. And I also feel like the fact that we talk about the behavioral tendency of the endowment effect, just the fact that we as humans tend to value something that we already own at an irrational level, and whether that's RSUs or a mutual fund you own or your favorite pair of shoes, this is real stuff. We see it happening all the time.
That's right. And the common example that we give to try to break that endowment bias is that it's the same as getting a bonus and turning around and buying your employer's stock. If you're given cash, most employees would not do that, but for some reason, when you're giving stocks, employees tend to hold on to it. And then one other comment that I would make about tax is that many employees might be filing their taxes now or starting to file their tax, and they'll be surprised to see that they owe tax. And oftentimes that's a result of the RSU shares vesting. Your employer does withhold taxes from your RSUs, but they withhold 22%. Oftentimes, your tax rate will be higher than 22%, including payroll taxes that could be upwards of 7.65%. And so you just want to be mindful that your employer may not be withholding enough tax and that you should set aside some money to pay that tax around now.
Well, it's a great point. And you wrote a really nice article on basically everything you need to know about RSUs that will certainly drop in a link below. And I think if we're going to step back and just think about this big picture, when you're granted RSUs, you've hit on some of the important issues, I think. And it's always a matter if you're going to hold or sell them, you have to think about it in the context of the portfolio and in the context of your financial plan. And at Plancorp, we're often saying that we don't want individual exposure to a single investment, single company to be more than 10%. And I personally feel like 5% is really where I'm not holding my breath any longer. And a lot of that's because the research shows how risky individual stock investment can be. And there's a JP Morgan study that I frequently cite. It says that 2/3 of all individual stocks underperform the Russell 3000. And that's a big number. And even more, the same study showed that 40% of all stocks suffered a permanent decline from their peak value of 70% or more. And so if you think about a decline like that on your net worth, it can be really, really painful. And so when you think of these RSUs, you have to remember it's just one piece of the portfolio and you want to manage how much risk you're exposed to. And something that you've said a couple times now, Daniel, is, look, this is a bonus. So if you got a cash bonus of $25,000, just for example, would you really just go out and buy your company stock? Probably not. You have to treat it like a bonus and remember that it's just a way for a company to compensate you in a more capital efficient manner. And when you think of that in terms of your financial goals, you think of, okay, I'm counting on this money. Also, remember that you're employed. This is who your livelihood is. So if that company does have a 70% drop and you somehow lose your job and your net worth is taking a hit, that's really a dangerous proposition. I don't know, Daniel, anything else that you want to add kind of from that big picture perspective?
I think it's like you said, Peter, very important to look at the big picture. Now, I'm not saying there's no tax benefit to holding, so you should sell everything as soon as you get them all the time. I just want to break this misconception. If you're making a decision to hold, look at the big picture and have a good understanding of the taxes so that you're not holding it thinking that you're getting some benefit where there really isn't.
Well, great stuff as always, Daniel. And if you want to learn more, like I said, we'll put Daniel's article about RSUs below. If you want to get some content personalized to your situation, you can go to startmyplan.com, answer 9 easy questions, and we'll send you content that's custom tailored exactly to where you are in life. We appreciate you all for watching. Comment below if you have anything to share with us, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Peter.